So in Jung's model of the psyche, there are three distinct layers or levels. So if we look at this image of the iceberg submerged in water, the top layer, the part of the iceberg that is not underwater, this is consciousness, our conscious identity, our ego, our moment-to-moment awareness of ourselves and the world around us, our logical and rational mind. And then the rest of the iceberg that is submerged underneath the water, this is our personal unconscious. This is our unconscious that is made up of material from personal experience, memories, knowledge, things that we don't need access to in the moment, but that we can retrieve when necessary, complexes, and I'll talk more about complexes and what they are in the next slide. Also, emotional material and traumas that we have repressed, things that we want to push out of our conscious awareness. And this is the level of the psyche that Freud focused on and where he stopped. And the move that Jung makes is to say there is a deeper layer, a deeper level, which he called the collective unconscious. And this is symbolized by the water that the iceberg is submerged in. So this is the foundational or bedrock layer of the psyche, and this is inherited and universal to the human species. So the central idea behind the collective unconscious is that our psyche has preconditioned states or ways of experiencing oneself in relation to the world. So the collective unconscious is made up of the archetypes. And I'll get into the archetypes in more depth later, but archetypes are essentially systems of energy and ways of perceiving, experiencing, and behaving that are automatic, inherited. The archetypes are essentially organs of the psyche, what we use to give us a specifically human psychological experience. So they are like themes. So these archetypes are themes of psychic life that we have inherited from a primordial human psyche that is common to all within the species. So the collective unconscious is the substratum or the deepest layer, the bedrock of the human psyche. It is the foundation that gives rise to all psychological activity. Jung called it the transcendental backdrop to consciousness. So Jung also called the collective unconscious the autonomous or objective psyche, and this is because it is not formed from personal experience. The collective unconscious is transpersonal and universal and inherited by the human race. And it is autonomous because it has its own will. It produces its own content. We do not have any sort of control or say over what comes from it. It also has its own specific language, which is symbolic and imaginative. It speaks in images and metaphors and emotions. So Jung called it the mythopoetic realm. And he thought this layer of the psyche was the source of all mythological figures and motifs that you could find across different cultures. He also thought that the collective unconscious was a source of religious and mystical experiences. It's the source of dreams, which is why dreams are not rational or logical. So it's also the layer that people immersed in psychosis are engaged with, which is why the people around them cannot understand what they're saying or what they're experiencing, what they're going through, because the level of the psyche that they are immersed in is symbolic and is speaking metaphorically, which the conscious, logical, rational mind sees as foreign or doesn't know what to do with at times besides just to disregard it. So the collective unconscious is an inner source of human experience, meaning it produces its own content. It does not have to bring in anything from the outside like our conscious mind does. It does not have to engage with stimuli in the objective world to facilitate or produce an experience. It can create its own experiences, which is what it does during dreams.